Let's bring in Andrew Clennell now, a political editor who broke this story. And he's right, we shouldn't begrudge a Prime Minister. He's been successful in his career and perhaps it is, well, not a retirement home, but where he wants to start the next chapter of his life, Andrew.
I wonder how it'll go down in Perth or Brisbane, though. I mean, people with Sydney homes wouldn't see 4.3 as that eye-watering. It's more than they would have, but very expensive to buy property here. Look, I think this will get a mixed reaction. So I've had that sort of reaction this morning from people saying, well, if the Prime Minister can't afford a home like that, who can?
Yeah.
Or if he sees a home that's fair enough to have, that his dream home, why shouldn't he purchase it? But on the other side of the coin with the cost of living crunch, I think this will make a lot of people angry. And I think a few people in his caucus might even be disturbed by this. The timing isn't ideal. It looks like you've got your eye over the horizon just before an election. Are you going somewhere? I mean, he's already going to get the question in the election campaign, and I do expect him to run this time. Are you going to serve full term? Is he thinking if it's a minority government, I'll have to go halfway through the term? He's 61. Is he thinking I'll retire halfway through the term? This is always an issue. When you run at elections and there's a feeling you might not be the one who serves till the very end. So there's all those complications. As far as the purchase goes, they've exchanged contracts, but it hasn't settled and it's contingent on the sale of this other property in Dulwich Hill. And so
it is contingent on that.
Yeah, I understand from his point of view. Okay. But
and that's been pulled from auction.
Yes, but I suspect it'll sell. And, having exchanged contracts, you're pretty serious, aren't you? But, I mean, at the moment, Jodie Hayden, his partner, fiancée, who no doubt was a big hand in this, she hails from the Central Coast. Her parents were school teachers there, her grandparents are there, other family, cousins are there. It's in the marginal seat of Robertson, by the way, which is another interesting twist to it. But she would have been very keen on this. But she's living in the lodge in Kirribilli at present, ahead of a wedding next year, which we expect after the election. So... it isn't. I find it intriguing. I find it intriguing timing, put it that way. And my understanding is Jodie Hayden's parents had spotted it. They've been looking around for somewhere they could settle on the Central Coast. Why not? It'd be near the beach for once instead of near that concrete jungle of the inner west, Anthony Albanese, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than Bondi or Maroubra, but it ain't that cheap. And look at how palatial it is as well. But the other thing is, so Anthony Albanese, I mean, I could talk about this for hours, Laura, basically, but let's look and think about the last campaign. I'm a kid who grew up in social housing. Now, does this speak to people aspiration? We can all do it. That's great about Australia.
Yeah.
Or do people become green monsters about it and go, well, hang on,
I just hate that aspect of our society, and I know that exists. It's not cut down the tallest poppy. He's the Prime Minister. He should be able to afford a $4 million house, absolutely.
I had a view from someone on not a brilliant salary this morning who had the same sort of view. So... Aspiration, exactly. That person was from the Shire too as well. That person was from the Shire too, I might say. Look, there's another internal aspect to this.
You've really thought about this.
Well, I've been thinking about it all morning since I've broken at 7:20. But look, 7:30. But the caucus internally, Jim Chalmers is never going to be able to afford that unless he gets a job like Wayne Swan, head of CBUS. If he becomes Prime Minister, he ain't getting a pension like Anthony Albanese is going to get. He got in there before the Latham changes. So will there even be a little bit of resentment in the caucus?
Isn't he the gift that's kept on giving modern politics?
Yeah, exactly. So, and he took the pension after banning it for everyone else, and it was grandfathered. Anthony Albanese argued against it.
Hypocritical, are you?
So, I mean, you sort of think, well, how can he service that? Obviously, he'd have to sell his other Marrickville home. Probably we're getting a bit personal with the PM's affairs here. But he'll have a pension for life on a reasonable salary as well.
As he should.
Well, the others don't. If you came in after 07, most of the people competing for the Prime Ministership don't. Peter Dutton will, actually. Peter Dutton's wealthy, incidentally. So there's that aspect to this debate as well. But I think there's a view from the opposition that there's successful too. Success breeds wealth. As being, PM is a pretty successful thing to become. But I think there's a view from the opposition. There's a bit of tin ear involved in this. And I'll be interested in the next few days how it plays out on Talkback, the coverage in the papers tomorrow, etc., etc.
Yeah, I think so too. Just on this, for Anthony Albanese he's exchanged the contract, for him not to settle, that would be a a big story for a Prime Minister not to be able to settle on a property that he's purchased. And we all know that, not making settlement is pretty bad. Costs you a fair bit of money.
Yeah, right. I've never been in that position where I haven't made settlement, thankfully for me. But that's a very good point. So you'd have to think it is going to happen. But just one final aspect on this. Housing policy, you've been on about it the whole time. Yeah. People can't get homes. People can't afford homes. Yeah. In the back of all voters' minds in this election campaign is, you're okay, you've got a $4.3 million home. Now, it might not be fair because Peter Dutton's got a massive farm and maybe that saves him a little bit politically. But I think that's an issue too.
Yeah, I think so. I think Australians are particularly bad when it comes to kind of that tall poppy, cutting it down, wanting, everyone to be the same. But we've got to remember, he's the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
He, as we've said, he should be able to afford a $4+ million home wherever he, at his age as well. So we'll see how it goes. Just on that pension issue, I mean, this has a massive effect on politics, I think. I think this is why you don't get the best people into politics, and those Latham changes have had and will have long-lasting effects, because what you get, and you talked about Jim Chalmers and Wayne Swan and, the CBUS job, et cetera, it means that, there is a chance that when you're in politics, you're hedging and you're not all in. So, you've always got to have an eye to the future.
And you can do favours for people with public money.
It's not obvious, but there is hedging that goes on.
Look, the cheapest form of, or the easiest form of quasi-corruption where you can't be before a corruption watchdog is 6 months after politics you land a job. Yeah. Because how can anyone prove that's tied to a decision or corruption, or even 18 months? I think there's a cooling off period. Yeah. Anyway.
I like that topic. Let's get stuck into it another time. Andrew, good to see you. Real estate correspondent for today, though. Thanks.